Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Or I should actually say good afternoon as well. We obviously have a lot of people on the call from Israel. Sorry, I'm here in New York. So good morning, welcome, good afternoon, welcome, or good evening, I should say. It's so wonderful to see everybody. Hi, Sarah. Good to see you.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you, Eliza?
Good, thank you. So we have a lot of people who are joining from all over the world, thank God, which is so wonderful. We're going to keep letting people in from the waiting room, and we're going to begin our program in just a few minutes.
Mazel tov, Ira.
Thank you. Thank you.
I see you've got your Zoom shirt and tie on.
Yes, I had to wear a tie. They made me wear a tie.
We really had to bend his arm for that one.
Thank you.
Mazel tov, Ira. Nice to see you all.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Mazel tov.
Mazel
I'm
tov,
Lily
Lily and Irv. Hi.
Thank you to my fellow classmates.
Irv.
I see my roommate is there, Dan. And it's like, good to see you, Karen.
Hello, Ira.
Hi, Carl.
Hi there.
I see Alan. Thank you. Wherever I see all of my classmates. I did see Ambassador Kurtzer was there somewhere. Thank you.
Mhm.
Everyone for coming.
We're gonna start in just a minute. For now, people are more than welcome to say hello to each other. But as we start the program, we're just gonna ask that everyone stay on mute unless they are the speaker. And we will definitely have another opportunity later on in the program for everyone to unmute themselves and talk to each other in their class setting. So just give us a few more minutes. People are still pouring in from the waiting room. I hope everyone was able to join the call easily. And we're really looking forward to seeing everybody. And if everybody, you can view Zoom in two ways. You can either do gallery view, which is seeing everybody, or you can do speaker view. So hopefully people are comfortable and can navigate the Zoom call and they can see all of their friends and classmates. But we're also happy to help anybody who needs a little technical help as best as we can. Again, we're just going to ask anyone who's not speaking to please keep themselves on mute so that way we don't hear background noise. Thank you. We're just going to wait a few more minutes and start the program. Thank you all for coming on time. Okay.
Hi, Ira. Dan Kurtzer.
Hi, Dan. Hi, Mr. How are you?
How's the family?
Baruch Hashem. Thank you. Thank you. Are you in Israel? Where are you?
I'm actually watching my granddaughter's football game in Silver Spring, Maryland.
Oh, you're still in Maryland. Okay.
You know, there are priorities in life here.
Hello, Stern 71. Debbie in Israel. Hi, Debbie Claff. Dan.
Hi, Yonina.
Hello, who is that? Identify
Paula.
yourself.
Do I look that different?
Yeah, I'm not seeing you. You're on a different screen. Hi, Sarah. Hi, Paula.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay. Gail, I see Philadelphia.
I think when you talk, you grab the microphone.
Okay.
So thank you again, everybody. You're welcome now. We're gonna give everyone just 2 more minutes. We are I see people are still logging in, so we're just gonna wait 2 more minutes and we'll start the program. But it's so wonderful seeing all of you. And we're just so excited that you're all here with each other and with us. So thank you. And we're just going to again ask that people, since you're not speaking, to please keep yourself on mute, because otherwise we have a lot of background noise. And if you don't mute yourself, we'll just take care of muting you for you.
Hi, Yonina.
Bryna, and I hear Bryna and I see Janice.
Oh, okay.
It's nice to see everybody. So we could, Paula, there you are. Bobby Paula, I believe it is.
Okay. Hi, Bryna.
Yeah.
Hi, it's Shoshana Sussman, Bacon Sussman. How are you?
How are you doing?
Okay, Baruch Hashem. We have a long time no see.
That's right. Where are you living now?
Same place.
Silver Spring.
Same place. We haven't moved.
Oh, wow. Terrific.
Yeah.
Hello, Brian. It's Shirley Aaron calling.
Hi, Shelley. You're the closest one to us.
Actually, not. I'm in Loch Sheldrick, New York at the moment.
Oh.
Oh, really?
Right. I came here for the year.
Yeah. And what are you doing?
Vacation Village.
Yeah, I'm in Vacation Village. I'm having a sabbatical for my pension.
Hi, Shelley.
Yeah. Who's that?
That's Irv.
Right. Instead of spending time in Israel, we took a year to come and spend time in Vacation Village.
And we sold in Vacation Village, so you have to see us here.
I expected to have you here and you weren't here.
How are you, Dean Jaskell? I may be the youngest 50-year graduate here. So I've been told that I sent an email by you that I graduated in 1971. So that was exciting to hear. Fantastic. But I'm actually a 1988 Sison School graduate.
Yeah.
We invited a number of Dean Jaskell's former students to the reunion to celebrate his contributions to the university. So thank you for joining us.
Fantastic. It's Yoni Nierenberg. And so how are you, everybody?
That's the Nuremberg son.
Very nice. Okay, we're going to get started, and I want to thank everybody so much for joining us this morning and this evening. Again, we have people from Israel and people from America. It's really so wonderful to have everybody here. My name is Aliza Abrams Koenig. I am the Director of Alumni Affairs at YU. Like all of you, I am an alum of the university, a very proud alum. I graduated from Stern College. I went to Wurzweiler. I'm sure I share that with many of you. Certainly the women on the call, I know all graduated from Stern College. And it's just such a wonderful honor to be able to bring you all together. Of course, we would have loved to have had this experience together in person, but we are still going through a global pandemic, and it just was not the time to have everyone come together. But I think the silver lining of this is that we got to have both the Israelis and the Americans on at the same time. And it's really special to be able to bring everyone together. I want to give my colleagues who've been very influential and helpful in putting this program together, Malki Infield, Gabi Sackett, Ellen Finkelstein, Adam Gertz, and of course, the President's Office, President Berman, and Julie Schreier, who are very helpful in putting together our reunion today. We are so blessed to have so many of you on the call with us. And I'm looking around to make sure that all of our guest speakers are on. So hopefully they all are. And of course, I want to acknowledge that Dean Bacon is here. We're very lucky to have Dean Karen Bacon joining us on the call. I think Dean Ethel Orlean might be joining us at some point as well. I'm not sure that I see her. It's hard to go from screen to screen. But it's really just such a beautiful zechus to have all of you here. So many of you laid the groundwork for so many of us who came after you as students at Yeshiva University, and it's just a really tremendous honor for me to be able to bring you all together for your class reunion. And we're hopeful that if we can't be together this year, we'll get you all together for either your 55th or your 60th in person, Emir Hashem, because we will one day look back at this time and remember all these Zoom calls, but have the opportunity to get together in person as well. Because we are celebrating all of you, we want to now have the opportunity to hear from your classmates. So what we're going to do is call on a few different individuals. I actually want to tell you about the rest of the program just so you know what the schedule is and how it's going to work. So we're very fortunate to have people from your class speak. Following that, we will hear from President Ari Berman, He will be presenting Ira with his award, Ira Jaskell, member of the class of 71. And then after that, we're going to hear from Dean Bacon. And then the conclusion of the program is something that we hope you'll really enjoy as well, is that we're going to put you into breakout rooms. I hope you guys are familiar with going into breakout rooms. It's very simple. And I'll explain it again at the end, but we're going to, at a certain point on the screen, there will be 4 options. And depending obviously on what class you are in, you can choose which breakout room you want to go into. You just will choose it and you'll automatically be put into a room with your classmates. And then you'll have the opportunity to speak with your friends. You can all unmute yourselves and you'll be able to talk. I see that there are a number of you who are couples. So you have 2 people on the screen, but you're obviously representative of 2 different classes. So if you want to get a second device, another phone or another computer, if that's an option at that point, you can rejoin the Zoom link and we can then have you go in separately, or you can join however you want. So we'll let you figure that out. So we'll try to help you out however you want. You're welcome to, if you know how to message me through the chat, if you have any questions, or Malky, we will both happily help you navigate any parts of the Zoom that you may need help with. But we're really looking forward to this being a lovely program, and we're so appreciative that you're all here. So with that, we're going to begin to hear some of your classmates. So I don't know if he is on yet. Alan Blumenthal, are you here that you're able to unmute yourself? We haven't seen him, so we're going to start in the reverse order because I know that these classmates are here. So I'm actually going to call on Aaron Reichel, who is a member of the class of 71. Aaron, let's find you and we're going to spotlight you. You can unmute yourself.
Done.
Great. Okay, there you are. We're gonna make you spotlighted so everyone can see you. There you go. And before actually Aaron even starts, I'm going to share a beautiful article that he wrote, or actually an obituary now, for Rabbi Tendler, who unfortunately just passed away. And if anybody wants to read his article, I will put the link into the chat and you can read it at your leisure. Please, Aaron, the floor is yours.
Okay, I'll begin by mentioning the one year I was not on campus, not because of COVID, but because of my junior year in Israel, in which I was designated the Israel correspondent of the Commentator. At almost the last minute before that year began, Dan Kurtzer, the then future ambassador and dean, decided to spend his junior year in Israel as well. And I was sure he would pull rank and take that position of Israel correspondent. He was entitled to it. He was a mensch then, as he has always been before and since, and he did not. In fact, he was the only student I knew of at the Hebrew University in Jerusalem who had a car, and once gave me an unsolicited lift in an already full car as we went to an Old Pond graduation party. Now, one sentence of background, no more, don't worry. My grandfather, known posthumously as the Maverick Rabbi as a result of the book I wrote by that title, taught practical rabbinics to the first 2 generations of American-born rabbis at Yeshiva University. End of introduction. One of my favorite stories as a student at YU, when I began my research about his synagogue for my dissertation at YU, when as I was crossing the street at 185th Street, and a man with a huge hat and a huge smile poked his head out of a cab, taxi cab. This is pre-Uber. And he asked me whether I needed a ride to the Upper West Side. I did not. I was on my way to class. I almost never missed a class, but who could resist a chance to be one-on-one together with Rabbi Shlomo Riskin for a whole car ride, pre-iPhone. He told me that people who knew the Maverick Rabbi when my grandfather was young said that Rabbi Riskin reminded them of him. So I got my scoop. Speaking of scoops, one of our classmates was the now famous Ari Goldman, then a stringer for the New York Times. I once asked him for a tip, seeing he had already surpassed everyone else in the class in advanced narration and getting published, and he said, keep it short. I never learned. I wasn't in the dorm other than to visit Rabbi Soloveitchik once and on other occasions to circulate election campaign literature, but it's possible that I may have influenced life in the dorm for some people more than almost anyone else. How can that be? As co-editor of the student directory with Mayor Zatz, which we signed off on using our middle names as Aaron Israel Reichel and Mayor Jordan Zatz, we introduced 2 new features. One was to fill up empty spaces in the pages with witty proverbs, and the other was for people to fill in on their forms the place to find them when not in their dorm rooms. Some responses were off the wall, not just dorm walls, and some actually took it seriously and provided useful information, useful contact information, pre-cell phone. We printed it all. Now, speaking, I think it was probably well worth reading for that reason alone. That's student directing. Now, speaking about reading, I saved you, as mentioned, I saved you from listening to the long discussion about Rabbi Tendler, and it's in 3 newspapers. But the best thing is, it's also in the Jewish Connection, which is headed by our classmate, Jerry Markovitz. And I found out that he edited that because I read it at the time of a previous Yeshiva college reunion. So that shows the use of that. Another topic. I graduated from 4 YU schools and attended at least 1 class and 2 more. That might be a record. But the absolute highlight of my years at Yeshiva University came as a graduate student when I was the president of Yeshiva University chapter of Yavna. We organized a symposium on how to respond to Jews for Jesus. Plus, we had 3 normal mainstream rabbis, plus Shlomo Carlebach to speak and not to sing. How about that? When I coaxed him into speaking, I told him up front that we had no budget to pay him, but he agreed anyway and almost sheepishly said in a follow-up conversation that his manager asked him whether he could sell his tapes at the event. That was a no-brainer. The event was written up later as having drawn a capacity crowd, including a standing room only chartered bus from Stern College in the largest auditorium in the main college building, first hall on the main campus. You can read about it again in the Hamavasser issue of December 12th, 1972, or in the monumental Carlebach biography by fellow YC graduate Natan Ophir. Carlebach's main point was, on a serious note, that it was our fault for not, I'm quoting now, for not crying when our brothers are dying. If only these Jews for Jesus would know that there is one Jew who cares, waiting for them, they will come back. It was Carlebach. I hope we will come back to our alma mater in person in the near future, and that none of us will pass up the opportunity in the time we have left to continue to try to emulate our teachers and our high-achieving classmates. A segue, one of them is Ira Jaskol. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was so beautiful. We're going to call on a fellow 1971 classmate, Sarah Holstein Maslow, please. We'll find you, and now we will spotlight you. There we go. Sarah, can you unmute yourself? There we go.
No, wait a second. Yes. Okay. Do you hear me?
We hear you loud and clear. Thank you.
Okay. Anyway, good evening. Erev Tov. Greetings from Jerusalem. I'm Sarah Holstein Maslow. I was a bio major at Stern College in the class of 1971. I am also wishing everyone well from the class of 70. And I want to wish a mazel tov to Ira Jaskol on receiving the YU Shield Award. That's really special. I have many reasons and memories to be proud to have been a student at Stern College. Firstly, I have Hakarat Hatov to my beloved Mrs. Esther Zuroff, Zichrona Livracha, who was my safe harbor after the 1968 riots in Washington, D.C., my hometown, and also to her and Mrs. Rosenthal, Zichrona Livracha, for making my shidduch with my wonderful husband, David, of almost 50 years. All of my children were students in YU. My daughter actually is this year celebrating her 25th anniversary from Stern. I have other daughters who went to Stern. I have YU, Azrieli, Wurzweiler, Cordoza, and Einstein. So our connection to YU is pretty sealed. I have huge hakarat hatov to all the teachers, especially Dr. Tova Lichtenstein, Dr. Krukowski, Rabbi J. David Bleich, Dr. Fred Goodman, and many more faculty. The faculty definitely had a share in inspiring me as I became an adult. We were exposed to the Blizzard, to the Blackout, to the Beatles, to Carole King, to the Rabbi's Sons, Shlomo Karbach, and Nomi Shemer. Work study provided us with the fun work jobs like being telephone operators during Christmas and New Year's, as well as professional work jobs like working in a lab. I might have worked with Dean Orlean. I know she taught me chemistry lab. Living on 34th Street gave me the opportunity as an out-of-towner to be exposed to Broadway, Times Square, Lincoln Center, Central Park, the Village, Borough Park, and the many neighborhoods I went to for Shabbos or Shabbat. I was able to go to concerts, Broadway shows, science events, the Rav Shir protests, and Israel rallies. It was an eventful 4 years with many, many dramatic world events like Soviet Jewry rallies, Vietnam protests, Robert Kennedy's assassination, and the Cambodia crisis. With it all, we graduated June 1971, and for my classmates in the year above me, June 1970. I'm sure that my memories have made all of you remember some of your own memories. Stern College was like a family. I met and befriended many girls from all over the world. I learned the highest level Torah classes, quality science classes, participated in student government events, and kind of grew up. I now live in Jerusalem for the past 11 years, making Aliyah from Silver Spring, Maryland. Hi, Silver Springers. I truly believe that my Stern experience motivated my desire to make Aliyah, seeing the places the Tanakh events took place, participating in the mitzvot Taluyot Ba'aretz like Shemitah, and seeing the renewal of the Jewish people in Israel after 2,000 years of yearning, something my grandparents could only dream of. It is a tremendous gift and zchut to be living here. Since coming here to Israel, the ladies in Israel from the class of 71 have the distinction of being the class that has the most Stern reunions, sometimes 3 times a year. A few years ago, our reunion leader, Debbie Claff-Dan, hi Debbie, started a Stern class of 71 WhatsApp group open to ladies in Israel and the United States. Our active WhatsApp group has met in person when many of the American girls came to Israel for a visit. This summer, Nina Katz-Langer organized a reunion in Riverdale, New York, where us girls from the US and Israel attended. Besides the reunions, we discussed current events and all other topics on the WhatsApp group. The nicest are the anniversaries and milestones that we share. No matter where we go or where I go, and I hear someone came from Stern College, I am happy to say I am from the class of 1971. I especially befriended Rosalie Berman, President Berman's mother here in Israel, which is special. Years go by, but I think most of you would agree that we got a good education, we had a lot of fun, and became like a family. And so thank you very much to Stern College and Yeshiva University.
Thank you so much. That was so beautiful, Sarah. And I just want to share that through this planning, I realized that I am friends with Sarah's son and daughter-in-law, and it's just the small world of Yeshiva University is just so wonderful and heartwarming. Thank you. We're
nice.
Of course, we are now going to actually call on 2 members of the class of 1970. We're first going to go to Joan Gail Schechter. And then after that, we are going to hear from Alan Blumenthal. We're actually going to change this spotlight. Sorry. Here we go. Okay, Joan, the floor is yours.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. You're good.
Okay. Thank you. Our wonderful class, SCW 70, truly embodies Torah Umada. We were the beneficiary of an outstanding Jewish and secular education that gave us the knowledge and confidence to achieve and then transmit. We hailed from small towns, large cities,
and different countries, but we all respected one another. We had a basketball team. We fenced. We debated. We stood by SSSJ. We danced. We had lovely Shabbatons. And above all, we helped others. During the 6-Day War, we tried to do everything we could through our prayers and collecting of money. Of course, remember that menorah we made of the window lights in the dorm? It illuminated all of 34th Street. Our newspaper, The Observer, our choir, Aviva, publishing Ashes and Sparks, our yearbook, and our joy from Brana and Alicia, our outstanding Rebbeim, Rabbi Metzger, Rabbi Gordon, Rabbi Schmidman, Rabbi Avi Weiss, Professor Orlean, Professors Friedland, Perlman, and Miss Wernick, and of course, Professor Tova Lichtenstein. They strengthened us academically and spiritually. I know all of you have in mind those teachers who influenced you. I was also fortunate to spend my junior year in Israel. Nechama Leibowitz had us standing in that auditorium. But most importantly, we have made lifelong friends. Memories of our years at Stern are preserved in our hearts of each one of us, especially mine. May we all be blessed with joy, good health, and peace in the world. Thank you very much for allowing me to speak.
Thank you so much. And now we'll call on Alan Blumenthal. I just have to find you now again on Zoom. Give me 1 second. Where are you? There you are. Okay, Alan, do you mind moving your camera down a little? We're seeing more of the top of your head.
Okay, 1 second.
Thank you.
You guys. That's the best I can do.
Okay. Well, at least I'm sure everyone recognizes your voice. And actually, before you start, I just want to share what Joan just shared about the lighting up of the windows of the dormitory. You should know that that still happens today. It's an exciting part of every Hanukkah. Every year on Hanukkah, the women who live in Brookdale Hall get to participate in lighting up the windows. It's a tradition that has gone on for many years. Okay, thank you so much, Alan. Please
sit on some phone books.
Okay. Some of my remarks reflect what these young ladies had to say, but I'll repeat it. My 4 years at YU were very exciting and was probably the best 4 years of my life. I met a lovely group of guys, represented the school 4 years on the basketball court, learned how to think critically, and develop a love for Eretz Yisrael, Medinat Yisrael. Over those 4 years, we lived through historic times, which included the 6-Day War in 1967, where Israel expanded its boundaries and liberated Jerusalem. The Vietnam War at its height, where protests were held nationwide, and locally at Columbia University, where the school was closed for 6 months plus due to the student protests. I remember the Yeshiva administration giving us the option of getting a pass-fail grade in our classwork or taking the final exams and receiving a grade to avoid the protests that were at Columbia coming to the heights. We also participated in the Free Soviet Jewry movement, where our brethren were held captive in the Soviet Union without practicing their religion or a choice to leave for Israel or any other westernized country. Upon graduation, I traveled around the world for 3 months, being single and lightheaded, which I called my master's degree. I visited Asia, starting in Tokyo, followed by Hong Kong, Bangkok, Thailand, Bali, Indonesia, into Kenya and South Africa, followed by Israel and Europe. It really was another education with witnessing the underdeveloped countries and their national life and their native lifestyles. Coming back to New York, I immediately started working in our family company, where I've been for the past 50 years. In 1973, I volunteered in the Yom Kippur War for no other reason than to show solidarity with Achenu B'nai Israel in this depressing time. I made it to Paris via Air France and did not know if I would get to Israel pending Air France flying and the Israeli government letting in foreign airlines. With no lights at the Lud, called then Lud Airport, the Air France pilot landed using radar. These memories I cannot forget. I can keep on writing down and expanding on some of these most positive impressions, but others are scheduled to speak in addition to a flight I'm taking myself with my wife tonight to Tel Aviv. Although we maintain a second home in Jerusalem, we have not been there for the past 2 years due to the pandemic and strict requirements required to get into the country. So to all my former classmates and graduates, let me in another 50 years or maybe 25 years, if the good Lord is kind to us, wish you all good health as we approach our retirement and golden years. L'hitraot and good luck and good health. I also want to remember former classmates that I am aware of who passed on. Most recently, Rabbi Melvin Berg, who became a pulpit rabbi in Brooklyn, originally from the Bronx. Samuel Lax, a New Jersey lawyer and businessman who passed on a few years ago. There are a few others whose names I just don't recall at this writing. Thank you to the Alumni Office for coordinating, but I would have preferred to greet all in person, maybe next year, as we said last year. I also want to thank my former teachers, administrators for putting me on the right derech, and not many of them are around any longer. But like I said in my first lines of thought here, my 4 years at Yeshiva were very exciting and meaningful to me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alan. Nasiya Tova. And of course, thank you for your continued support of our Max. We know you're a big fan of the basketball team, and we look forward to seeing you in the stadium, hopefully sometime soon. Okay, so now I'm gonna unspotlight you. Sorry, there we go. Okay. It is my great honor to introduce our president, President Ari Berman. President Berman began his tenure at Yeshiva University as Yeshiva University's 5th president in June 2017. Under his visionary leadership, Dr. Berman has laid the foundation for the next great era of Yeshiva University. Through a bold academic plan, he has articulated a new business model with investments in key areas such as science and technology, entrepreneurship, and innovation. Values and leadership market ready graduates with great jobs and impactful careers. During his tenure, the university has introduced over 20 new graduate degrees in emerging fields, including artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, physician assistant, biotech management, real estate management, special education, marriage and family therapy, MBA and master's in Holocaust and genocide education. He spearheaded efforts to establish new academic centers, such as the Emil A. and Jenny Fish Center for Holocaust and Genocide Studies. These efforts have produced significant growth in enrollment, as well as in philanthropic gifts, including funding for the Shevet Glaubach Center for Career Strategy and Professional Development, the Innovation Lab, new physician assistant and occupational therapy labs, as well as state-of-the-art computer science labs. Under his leadership, Yeshiva University has rose 21 places in the US News and World Report. Dr. Berman is an active and erudite spokesman for the Jewish community. He lectures widely throughout the US and Israel and has written numerous articles on subjects addressing contemporary Jewish thought, modern philosophy, and trends in higher education. We are so honored to have President Berman with us here today, and I would like to now take the opportunity to invite him to speak.
Wow, I'm just happy to be here to hear that introduction by Eliza. Is that what has been going on? That was amazing. Thank you. Thank you, Eliza. It is really a astounding pleasure to be here with you, the class of 1970 and 1971. That is really, that is something. 50 years. 50 years have passed, and hearing the words of you, your classmates, speak about the effect and the impact of Stern College, of Yeshiva College, of the academics, of the Torah, of the friends you developed these years. It's truly inspiring. I'm happy to share with you first that this is continuing. The work that you've been a part of in the beginning continues on today. It's really a great blessing to welcome my partner in these efforts, Dean Karen Bacon, who's here with us. Just an incredible leader of Yeshiva University and everything she continues to do for our institution. So a couple of weeks ago, or I should say by now, maybe 6-7 weeks ago, I was in my parents' apartment in Jerusalem. Sarah referenced my mother. How many people here are living in Jerusalem right now? How many people in Jerusalem? Lots of, we see some people. So I was in my parents' apartment and I saw they took out these pins. Do you guys have these pins? You know what this is? Yeah. So this is my father's pin. It says T. Berman, President of Student Council, 1962. 1962. Then I saw this pin. Anybody have this pin? This is the Stern College pin. It says R. Bayer, service 1962. And actually my parents met as the presidents of Yeshiva College and Stern College student bodies. So I brought these pins with me to the Student Council Leadership Shabbaton this year. There were 100 students at the beginning of this semester that went away for a Shabbaton. And I showed them these pins and how my parents reflected that the people you meet in your Yeshiva College, Stern College, Yeshiva University career, they could be your spouses, but they're your friends and your neighbors and people that you will share lifelong relationships with. And how special this time during these years. Like Baruch Hashem, YU is growing, as Elisa said, and things are developing, and we have over 2,000 undergraduate students now, which probably is a little, maybe slightly more than when you were here as students. We have over 5,000 students with the graduate schools. We're a top tier university, rating now 68th in the country. But what's core is what really stays the same. And that is the great academics, the great Torah values that you studied in your years, continue the rich Jewish experience of Jewish life continues, and the Torah values, our core values continue. If you look back from 1970, so a lot of things happened in 1970. Somebody referenced, I think that was the year the Beatles ended. I think it was in 1970, but the radio was still playing their music. Disney was founded as a theme park. The VHR was created, and microprocessors were founded. And now, 50 years later, I don't know if the radio still exists. Disney is known more for its Disney Plus app, and no one student would even know what a VHR is. And the microprocessors in your phone is probably more powerful than the microprocessors that existed at Yeshiva University at that time. So much has changed over this time. But what's amazing is what has stayed the same, which is our commitment to Torah and to Torah values and to raising the next generation of Jewish leaders. When I speak to our students at Yeshiva University, I talk often about our Torah values. L'chu banim shemuli, the pasuk says in Tehillim, go, my children, and listen to me. Now, it's a very strange thing to say. If you're sending somebody away and saying go, they're leaving. They're not in front of you. What does it mean to say l'chu banim and then afterwards shemuli, hear me? And I think what the pasuk is teaching us is that often it's only when you're apart, when you leave, that you fully appreciate what one had. Sometimes it's the distance. Sometimes it's the applications of what one learns that makes one appreciate what one learns originally. We speak to students about their Torah values and the importance of their Torah values. But Lamaisa, they didn't experience life yet. You've all experienced life. Relationships, careers, family. Our values are our guideposts, they're our compass. They enrich us and they give us meaning and purpose. Everyone here has not just studied at Yeshiva University, you've lived Yeshiva University. You know, just hearing what Sarah said about, for example, the Tzionut, the Zionism, the sense that the Jewish people have returned to their homeland, or hearing people talk about their Rebbeim and their teachers, or Tova Lichtenstein. I loved hearing about Tova Lichtenstein. So many people mentioned Dr. Lichtenstein as a driving force, or the social movements that existed, and being a part of that change. I mean, so much of your experiences in the informed of who you are and what you've done. L'chubanim shimuli. You have left, and it's after you have left, you've applied. You know, the values and the lessons that you've learned, I'm sure, have become even more meaningful and more impactful. I loved hearing, the years of Yeshiva University were the best years of one's life. Of course, every stage is the best years of one's life. Every stage is the best years of one's life. But the Yeshiva University years are definitely the years of the informative time of your life. And our students are what they are because of what they've learned and their experiences at YU. And it really gives me great joy and inspiration to hear you share those stories. And I want to thank you. I know many of you, Elisa told me, have already contributed to the future, because it's not, when it comes to Yeshiva University family, it's not just about Akar Sato for the past, but of course it's helping the next generation, it's paying it forward. You know, and for us, it's very important that our alumni are involved in partnering with us in many ways. We have, by the way, those who live in Israel, we're thinking about new Israel, ways of bringing more students to Israel and helping create the pipeline to Israel. If you're interested in being involved in that, I'm sure that would be a benefit. Or the scholarships to our students we have a lot of students in need. Similarly to many people who are the beneficiaries of scholarships, be very helpful for the next generation for that contribution. There's so many ways to get involved now, to pay it forward. And specifically for alumni, as I mentioned, US News, actually part of our ratings is how much alumni participation, how much Akar Satov is there afterwards. It's part of our ratings. So you can literally help Yeshiva University in the present and increase the value of our degree by participating in our future. It really is, it's very important for us in order to not just sustain, but to grow and to continue that place of growth. So we thank you for your representation, for your example, for being out in our community and modeling what Yeshiva University is about, for not just studying, but living a life of Torah Umada. And we thank you for your support and contribution to make sure that the next generations similarly have the great experiences that you had and live a life infused with Torah values, success, meaning, and purpose. You know, it's my joy to welcome all of you, and specifically to acknowledge one of the incredibly distinguished group that is here today for his enormous contributions to Yeshiva University and to our community. You know, everyone, we welcome everyone here as a welcome home and take great pride in nachas in everyone and everything that you're doing. But today, I want to acknowledge one returning alumnus who continues to serve as a shining example of Yeshiva University's values. Rabbi Ira Jaskol received his BA from Yeshiva College of Mathematics in 1971. We share the same Rebbe, Rabbi Aaron Lichtenstein Zatzal, though I suspect that we sat by him several decades apart. He was distinguished even then as a student in our yeshiva, a member of the Mathematics Honor Society, on the Dean's List, serving on our student council and for our newspaper, The Commentator. And in 1975, after studying with the Rav, with Rav Soloveitchik Zatzal, he received smicha from Reitz. Even after graduating, Rabbi Jaskol continued, L'chubanim shemuli. He continued, he said, I'm not going to go, I'm going to come back and give back and make sure that the next generations learn the values and the lessons and live the life of Yeshiva University. He was a founding member of the Cy Sims administration and served as both interim dean and associate dean. And during his tenure, the school grew from 200 students to almost 800 students. And Ira was instrumental in the school's growth. For all of his distinguished accomplishments and all the things he founded and innovated as a dean at Cy Sims, as a student, as an alumnus, as a leader of our institution, it is truly my pleasure to call up Ira and award him with our YU Shield, which recognizes our alumni who have made a significant impact with our university and our community. Ira has already received the physical award. Let me read it to you, the inscription, with deep appreciation for your outstanding service to our students and to our community. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my dear pleasure to introduce our Rabbi Ira Jaskol. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, I lost. Thank you. Thank you, President Berman, fellow Yeshiva College, Stern College Women 50th reunion celebration participants, Cy Sims School of Business graduates, honored guests, friends, and family. It is indeed an honor to receive the Yeshiva University Shield from President Berman. I wish to thank President Berman for honoring me today with this lovely and important award. I wish to thank my late parents, Saul and Edith Jaskol, for instilling in me the importance of helping the Jewish community. Saul Jaskol is one of the founders and president of the Young Israel of Windsor Park, worked for the National Council of Young Israel, was the executive director of the JC in Elizabeth, New Jersey, and helped create Bar Ilan University.
No, I'll move it.
Let me start again. I'm muted. I'll start again. I apologize.
We heard you. Don't worry. We are just finding out who wasn't muted, but you're good. We heard you.
Good. Thank you. No, it said muted, so I'm going to continue. Okay. Edith Jaskol was president of her sisterhood, was active in Amit Women, worked for the Holocaust Center at King University. They showed me the importance of Avodas Hashem. I also want to thank my lovely wife and talented partner, Connie Jaskol, who taught art at SAR Academy for over 35 years. My children, Shai and Shoshana Jaskol, Chaim and Esther Jaskol, Yafa Jaskol, and Yoni Jaskol, I'm very proud of you and your families. To my sisters, Rochelle and Ziska, Dr. Tina Jaskol, who's part of this year's 50th reunion, and Joyce Friedman, thank you for also all your the wonderful activities you've done for the Jewish community. After graduating high school as the valedictorian, I only applied to Yeshiva University for college. I wanted to continue learning Torah while pursuing an excellent college education. I was proud and challenged to be in Rev Lichtenstein's share. I also felt it important to become active in student affairs. I served on the student council, served 4 years as a commentator, becoming the copy editor and senior editor, and became one of the first student senators of the inaugural Yeshiva College Senate. For the first time, the students were able to meet with administrators and faculty to discuss making policy. You can thank me for eliminating the requirement to pass a swimming test for graduation, a vestige of 1920 City College and a Gemara. After graduation, I decided to continue my learning in the Smicha program, studying by the Rav, and stayed active in the Yeshiva College Alumni Association by serving as its treasurer and vice president. I earned my MBA, embarked on a career in college administration, and served as the founding dean of the Gramson Art College. When Yeshiva decided they wanted to start a business school endowed by Mr. Cy Sims, they came recruiting me to join the Michael Schiff. I initially declined because I felt I was too emotionally attached to Yeshiva. Eventually, I said yes, because I felt the need to help. I'm extremely proud of my 24 years as Associate Dean and the Interim Dean at the Sisson School of Business. I was able to build the school into one of the best business schools in the region. I wish to thank Mr. Cy Sims, Marcy Sims, and Mrs. Lynn Sims for the wonderful vision and assistance that the Sims family provided to the students and school. I wish to thank my founding dean, Dean Michael Schiff, for setting the strong academic standards for the school. I wish to thank my second dean, Harold Nuremberg, for building the school into a vibrant, dynamic institution. I wish to thank my last dean, Michael Ginsberg, for always supporting my new and creative ideas for the school. I still view him as a friend. While I was the interim associate dean of the Sisson School, we grew to 800 students, 500 men and 300 women. We began to offer 2 graduate programs. Our placement record was near perfect, and the accounting students were receiving 8 on-campus interviews, with most of the top 25 firms coming, including all the big 4. We began the important AACSB of international accreditation, which we received, and began offering honors courses. We had monthly academic speakers, including Nobel Prize winner in economics, Professor Robert Alumni of Hebrew University. He met with all the undergraduate students and had lunch with the YU Rebbeim, which was amazing. We also had some innovative recruiting efforts like $100,000 stock market challenge with over 600 participants and the high school business bowl. I am proud of my many accomplishments at the Sisson School of Business. I want to thank President Berman for giving me this award to acknowledge both my service as a student leader and for my many accomplishments to Yeshiva as interim dean and associate dean of the Sisson School of Business. To those alumni and friends who are here today, Yeshiva University needs our help. The Jewish community needs a vibrant and strong Yeshiva University. They need us to donate money to help Yeshiva sustain itself in the future. Even more important, Yeshiva needs our children and grandchildren attending Yeshiva College, Stern College, and the Sisson School. Today, there are many competitors. I know most of them, but there is only one Yeshiva University. If you want your offspring to get an outstanding Torah education and an excellent college education, Yeshiva University should be the first and only choice for you. Thank you for coming today, and I wish all of you to be safe and healthy. Thank you.
Mazel tov, that was so special. And we have a small surprise for you. We have a former student who is going to just say a few words. Yoni Nierenberg, who was a member of the class of 1988. He was actually in the first graduating class of the Sisson School of Business. Yoni, please.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thanks for the opportunity. Dean Jaskol, I see President Berman, Dean Ginsberg, who I have such fond memories of, and sometimes I wake up thinking I still have to write a paper. So, but on that one point that you had mentioned, and Rabbi Berman, President Berman touched upon it, I just wanted to give you an insight into who Dean Jaskol was maybe 30 some odd years later, after you were playing basketball with him and after you were learning with him and after you were going out in the evenings with him and in shiur and in classes. Dean Jaskol was number one, an inspiration to us. Number two, Dean Jaskol was a mentor to us as the very early class of Sisson School of Business, one of the first class, we didn't really know our position in the university at the time. And there were some challenges and some differences and some courses that we wanted to get into, which we were told this is part of Yeshiva College and this is part of Sisson School of Business until everything got sorted out. But there was always one individual you could go to, and that was Dean Jaskol. So in addition to him being a mentor and an academic and a dean and an individual that we looked up to, he was also a friend and a family member, and remains a friend and a family member today, precisely to the point that so many of you have dearly spoken about with your relationships with Stern and Yeshiva University and YU and the entire YU family. So for that, I wanted to thank you, Dean Jaskol, for giving us the opportunity to represent you here today, for your care, your true love of Yeshiva University and your true encompassing us into the YU family, which we hope will continue with certainly my children who are continuing in Yeshiva University. I have one in Israel in the Army right now who's now enrolled in the Honors Yeshiva University program, and Dean Jaskell's children and family members go out of their way to maintain the ties that Dean Jaskell has built. We've consulted with his children who are in Israel. That's really the key element that I wanted to stress here, the continued caring and the understanding. Thank you so much for the opportunity to chat off the cuff for a few moments.
Thank you, Yoni. And I did want to say that Yoni's father, my good friend, Dean Nuremberg, was the second dean, and he was a very close friend, a very close mentor and friend of mine. And thank you very much for saying. And again, his mother is still alive, and again, we wish her the best.
Amen.
Thank you both so much. Mazel tov again, Dean Jaskell. We are now going to have the opportunity to hear from Dean Karen Bacon. I'm going to first put myself on, and then we're going to call on Dean Bacon in just 1 second. To introduce Dean Bacon, Dean Karen Bacon earned her bachelor's degree summa cum laude from Stern College for Women and served as valedictorian of her graduating class. She earned her doctorate in microbiology from the University of California at Los Angeles and did postdoctoral research both at UCLA and at Indiana University. A trendsetter, Dr. Bacon was appointed as the first Stern College alumna to be granted a full appointment at Yeshiva College, where she served for 2 years as assistant professor of biology. Dr. Bacon has been dean of Stern College for Women since 1977, and in 2015, she was appointed the Mordechai D. Katz and Dr. Monique C. Katz Dean of the Undergraduate Faculty of Arts and Sciences. In this enlarged role, she also serves as the Dean of Yeshiva College and is working to unite the faculty on curricular initiatives, academic policies, and research collaborations. Dr. Bacon has co-authored articles in scientific journals and books, including in the Journal of Bacteriology and the Journal of Ultrastructure Research. We are so honored to have you here, Dean Bacon. She has published many other pieces as well, but I'm going to give her the opportunity to take the time to speak. So we're just gonna spotlight Dean Bacon now. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much. I really would have preferred not to have that introduction because we're here amongst friends and we don't need that. But anyway, for the few moments I have with you, I'd like to take you on a little tour of Yeshiva University today, Yeshiva College and Stern College. So imagine yourself standing on Amsterdam Avenue and looking west. And what you're going to see in front of you is a beautiful plaza, a pedestrian plaza. There are tables with umbrellas and chairs and flowers and shrubbery. It's a wonderful place for the students to congregate, to talk informally with faculty. You'll see some of the Kollel children, the children of the Kollel couples on their scooters and their bikes. It's just what you were talking about. It's a community, and that plaza has made it such. But if you turn to your right, you're going to see the Gluck Beis Medrash. This is a magnificent, magnificent Beis Medrash. You walk inside, you hear the sounds of a Beis Medrash. You see Rav Schechter sitting, Rav Twisky, Rav Rosenzweig. It's everything you remember and so much more. You turn to the right, there's the newly refigured library, and it's the library of the 21st century. Of course, the books are still there, but there's so much more now. There are all these wonderful areas where students can work together, can study together. There's technology, everything you'd expect in a library of the 21st century. We walk out of the building, you might meet right on that plaza, Judah Diamond. He's the new chair of the computer science department. That department is gangbusters. And if you want to talk to him, you've got to move fast, you got to talk fast, because here's a man who's really on the move. And one of the things he's doing very well is connecting our students to industry. That's part of his goal, both industry in America and industry in Israel. You might also meet Josie Steinhauer. She's a professor of genetics at Yeshiva College. Her laboratory is heavily supported by federal grants. and she involves students in her research. In fact, she does something very innovative. In the classes she teaches, in the lab classes, they don't do cookbook experiments. What they do is have portions of her research agenda that they work on their own, and they are then contributors to the publications that she produces. So we're going to move quickly because I know I don't have much time with you. And now we're going to move from one more thing I have to tell you. In that Belfer building, if you might remember, the tall building on Amsterdam Avenue, we just recently created a digital art and music studio. This is for the students who are in the creative arts and want to do graphic design, want to do digital music. We have a lab for them, and it is wonderful. But now we're moving quickly. We're going back down to Murray Hill. We get to Murray Hill, we're in front of Stanton Hall. That's the name on the building, 245 Lexington, that the women in the room might remember, and the men too, because you used to visit us down there. Anyway, the first room we're going to is the Eisenberg Beit Midrash. It's not as big as the Gluck Beit Midrash, but it is just as active. It is just as central and pivotal to the life of Stern College. From the Beit Midrash, let's go to, we're going to meet Alan Broder. He's the chairman of the computer science department at Stern College, and he'll take us into the Mitrani high-tech lab. Now, this is a lab, really 21st century lab. All the walls separating the different room are movable glass partitions, so we can reconfigure the space if we're having a small lecture, if we're having a hackathon, if we're having a large conference. All the walls are writable because, that's what students do in computer science. They write codes. We even have a maker space for students. And there's also a coffee machine because that's what's keeping them going. We're going to move from there. I'm going to go to, there's Leah Santos. She's the chairman of our physics department. And Leah Santos, also heavily supported by federal grants, involves students in her research. She's in our new physics and engineering lab for women, something we didn't have in my day and not in your day. And then finally, I'll take you to the art studio. Now, where I said we have a digital art and music lab at Yeshiva College, that's new. But art at Stern College is not new. It is so fully developed. It's in fact an entire floor. There are studios for painting and drawing and sculpture and computer graphic design and video production, you name it, we've got it. It is in many ways the most creative part of the entire building. And there's display space, and all throughout the building, we have little lounges here and there. So you don't have to look for a place to sit with some friends and chat, but it's all available to you. So it was really a quick review of where we are today. I think you'd be so impressed by the facilities. I think you'd be so impressed by the faculty. But I also should introduce you to the students. And I was going to say something about the students, then I realized I don't need to. The students are your legacy. The students are our future. You know them well. They are your grandchildren, your nieces, your nephews, your great nieces, your great nephews, the children who have yet to come. They are part of why we went to Yeshiva University, because we are going to help to create the next chapter for the Jewish people. So I congratulate you on this milestone. I've already celebrated mine, and I look forward. We'll see each other again, B'Shat Tovah, and wonderful times. We'll celebrate, we'll look back, we'll live in the present, and we'll plan for the future. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you so much, Dean Bacon. It's so wonderful to have had you with us. And for your beautiful words. I'm going to now give directions in terms of the next part of the program. So before I actually, again, remind everyone about the breakout rooms, I just want to thank you all again for joining us. You are Yeshiva University. You are always welcome home to Yeshiva University. And we want you to know that you are always acknowledged, because like Dean Bacon said, you established so much for all of the future students and will continue to do so for the future students. And to quote President Berman, we are deeply rooted and future focused. We would not be the university we are today without all of our alumni. And without your support, both emotionally, spiritually, and financially. So please know that Yeshiva University is always here for you. And we also always appreciate your always being here for us. And whenever you need something from the university, please feel free to reach out. You can always reach us at alumni@yu.edu, or you can call our offices, and we're here to help however we can. We really hope that you all enjoyed the program, and it was really an honor again to coordinate this for all of you. And in Mirz Hashem, if we can do this in person, and we'll combine the classes of 70, 71, and 72 at the point that we can get together in person, but we will do it. And what we're going to do now is go into breakout rooms. You're going to see on the screen is going to be a white square, and you can choose whichever room you would like to go into. That was the class that you graduated from. If you'd like to go to a different one, you can, but your peers will not necessarily be there. We're going to leave the rooms open for 30 minutes. We're going to close at 2:30. And again, we wish you all so much nachas from our university, because again, you were part of the building of it. So thank you so much. Good health for everyone. Thank you again for joining us. And now you're going to see the breakout rooms pop up. If anybody has any questions, we are available here to help you navigate those.
Just before we go, Aliza, I just wanted to thank Aliza for her incredible job in coordinating this. She's an amazing talent.
Thank you.
And has done such a great effort in bringing our alumni back home to Yeshiva University. And we are so thankful for her and everything that she's doing to continue our deep relationship with each of you. Thank you so much for everything.
Thank you so much, President Berman, for your kind words.